Because they don't even look in the Bible to see it. Revelations 1:14 says that this man had head of woolly hair. Who has woolly hair on this earth? What nation of people? He's talking about race. The Bible is a racist book. That's what it talks about. Nations. Nations are what? Races, right? Read.
Hosea chapter 3 and verse 4. For the children of Israel shall abide many days.
It says Bohemians that are the children of Israel, we're going to go many days. Go ahead.
Without a king.
Without a king. Do you have a king here? You got a prime minister. You don't have a king. We always had a king from the days of what? David, Samuel, right? Read.
And without a prince.
And it says, what's your name? Huh? Ket. We talking about Jesus the Christ. It said the Bohemians went many days without a king and without a prince, right? Read.
And without a sacrifice.
And without a sacrifice, come on.
And without an image.
And without an image of who our Messiah looked like.
That's right.
So now, over time, guess what happened? We just took on this image. Did you see Passions of the Christ? You remember the movie Mel Gibson made? Did you see it? Did it touch your heart? Did you ever question why he was a white man?
No.
You didn't, right? Did you know that Christ was a black man? They talk about it, right? Let's read about it. Read it.
The book of Revelations, chapter 1, verse 14. His head and his hairs were white like wool.
It said Christ had white, woolly hair. Who has white, woolly hair? Who has woolly hair? What nation of people?
Bring it out.
Touch your head. What is it? It's woolly, right? That means his hair was just like your hair. That's one strike against this person, ain't it? Talk to me. That's one strike, right? Come on.
As white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire.
Because the prophecy was that Christ drank wine in moderation. That's why when the Pharisees and Sadducees came to him, they said, you're a wine bibber. Why? Because Christ drank wine in moderation. You ever had a drunk uncle and his eyes, the whites of his eyes always red? You might not have a drunk uncle, but you have people that drink a lot. The whites of their eyes turn red, right? Read.
And his feet.
And his what?
His feet like unto fine brass.
Why? Because he didn't wear Jordans in the days. They wore sandals. So you can see the color of their skin, right? It said his feet was what?
Like unto fine brass.
It said his skin was like fine brass. What color is brass? Brownish, right? Let's dig it in a little bit more. Read.
As if they burned in a furnace.
Now you take that brass and you burn it. What color is that?
Bring it up.
Dark. Christ was a very dark man, right? Why was he a dark man? Why do you think Christ was dark? You got a son? Does your son look like you? Give me that in Hebrews 3 and 1, I believe. Your son looks like you, right? So you would assume if Christ is the Son of God, he would look like God, right?
Get up.
Okay. Hebrews 3, verse 1 and 2. Read.
This is the book of Hebrews, chapter 3 and verse 1. Bring it out. Wherefore, holy brethren, partakers of the heavenly calling.
I think it's 1 and 3.
Yep. Yes, sir. Hebrews chapter 1 and verse 3. Who being the brightness of his glory and the express image.
Christ was the express image. What does it mean, express? He looked just like his father. That's why when they see your son, they're going to see you. Right. That he comes from you. Right? Read.
And upholding all things by the word of his power, when he had by himself purged our sins.
That's it. So it said he was the express image, right? Give me Daniel's. So if he was the express image of his father, right? Did he look like his father? Let's see. Watch this. He said he had head of what? His hair was what? Woolly, right? What God hair look like? Read.
The book of Daniel, chapter 7 and verse 9. I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit.
Why does it say Ancient of Days? Why would they say this particular person, this spirit, is the Ancient of Days. That means that he was before days began. Right. Days is a measurement for us to understand. Right. God lived before days. He created days. Right. That's why it says Ancient of Days. He came before time. Read.
Whose garment was white as snow.
It said his garment was white as snow. Read.
And the hair of his head. The hair of his head like the pure wool.
So God had pure woolly hair. Didn't it say Christ had pure woolly hair?
Bring it up.
Yes, it did. It said his hair was white like what? It said his father's hair was like the pure wool. That's the same thing, right? Give me that in Genesis 1. So if God had woolly hair, Christ had woolly hair. So when he created Adam, he's created Adam to look like them, right? And you got woolly hair, right? Okay. Read.
The book of Genesis, chapter 1 and verse 27.
Bring it up.
So God created man in his own image.
So what man did he create to look like him? What man did God create to look like him? What man did God create to look like him? The who? The Israelite man.
That's right.
He created the Israelite man to look exactly like him. That's why you have woolly hair. That's why you have woolly hair. That's why he has woolly hair. That's why I come from America. I have woolly hair. We come from completely different walks of this world, but we all got the same texture hair. We all got the same facial features. We all got the same mannerism. Why is that? Because we're the same people.
That's right.
The only difference between me and you, they dropped me off in America. And they dropped you off in the Bahamas. They dropped the people off in Puerto Rico. They dropped them off in Brazil. That's the only difference between us is a boat stop.
That's right.
We're the same people. Read.
In the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them.
Give me Genesis 2 and 7.
Genesis chapter 2 and verse 7. And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life.
It said he breathed into his nostrils the breath. What do you think the breath of life was given to Adam? Because Adam looked like God. So now he has the breath of life in him. What do you think that we're lacking today? What's your name? What's your name? Brother, what's your name? What's your name? Both of you. Your name is Darkness? Darkness. Douglas. Is it Douglas? Douglas. What's your name? Alessandro Israel. So you know you're Israel. Or you just have that name? Alessandro. What happened to your people? What happened to your people over time? Give me Jeremiah 17:4. What happened to the people? God you were created to be. Why are we mere men on this earth? This is what we lost. Read.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 17 and verse 4. And thou, even thyself.
It says you, Jeremiah, even yourself. You could be Jeremiah. You could be Jeremiah today. You could be Jeremiah today. Read.
Shall discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee.
What was the heritage that was given to the Israelite man that we walked away from? That we lost? Give me Sirach 17 and 11. What did we lose? Because our people are lawless. We're lawless. We'll rob each other. We'll kill each other. We'll hoard our women. We'll steal from one another. All of these things are laws that's written in the Bible to do what? Protect us. Protect us. But our communities are plagued with these things. You don't see that in the so-called white community. You don't see that. But you see that in our community. Why? Because we're impoverished. Why are we impoverished? Because we have lost our connection to our source. Our source that does what? That feeds us life. Read.
The book of Sirach, chapter 17 and verse 11. Besides this, He gave them knowledge and the law of life for an heritage.
He gave us the law of life as a heritage. The laws. He gave us the laws of life as a heritage. Let me ask you something. What is your purpose? Oh man, you talking some good stuff right here. Give me Deuteronomy 10 and 12. I'm going to tell you what your purpose is not to do. It's not to do that. It's not to do that. You know why? What happens to your lungs? What's the only organ in your body that cannot regenerate itself? Your lungs is the only organ that cannot regenerate itself. But what do our people do? The reason why we smoke, the reason why we drink excessively, the reason why we do these things is to escape what? Hard bondage. Life. Right? If we was addicted, give me Romans 16, I think it's 15. I think it's 15. Addicted to the ministry. We, 1 Corinthians, you sure? We're addicted to all of these other things because why? We're struggling from God's laws. 1 Corinthians 16, 15. Read.
The book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 16 and verse 15.
There is an addiction that you can have that's righteous. Watch this, read.
I beseech you, brethren, ye know the house of Stephanus, that it is the first fruits of Achaia, and that they have addicted themselves to the ministry of the saints.
We must addict ourselves to the ministry of the saints. What does that mean? Give me Joshua 1 and 8. We have to take everything that's in us, that was put in us that's negative, and take God's laws and change and rearrange what we thought we knew. You thought y'all were Bohemian. You grew up, I'm Bohemian. I like to smoke weed, right? That's not your laws. That's not your heritage. That's not your nationality. That is not what you were created to do. You were created to govern this whole earth. Read.
The book of Joshua, chapter 1 and verse 8. This book of the law. This book of the law.
This is not a book of Psalms and Proverbs. That's why when you go now in the Christian church, they give you this little hymn book. And you want to read Psalms and Proverbs. It said this is a book of what?
This book of the law.
This is book of laws. To do what? To help us govern our people. Why? Because we're lawless. We hate each other. Read.
Shall not depart out of thy mouth.
We should never speak outside of the scriptures. That's why if you ask me a question about the Bible, I got to go to the Bible. Like, for an example, let me finish this. And I'm going to show you something that you're doing. That's a law, and you don't even know you're doing it. Read.
This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night.
If you're addicted to something, you're meditating in it. You can't get rid of it. It says day and night.
What is a nation? Nation is men leading by example. Nation is family. Nation is community. Nation is children with role models. Nation is unity. Nation is you.
And finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord. His word